So today's lesson is all about 5 disaster shots that I see so many people making that are affecting their scores out on the golf course. So let's get stuck into this lesson with disaster shot number 1, and we find ourselves in the middle of a fairway. So how am I going to turn this into a disaster? Let's find out. So I'm here on the 17th at Warrington. Now, unfortunately, the sun is directly into me. I will show you another angle in a second of me hitting the shot, but I am 240 yards away from the flag. In between me, I have got 110 yards to a pond. Then that will travel pretty much all the way up to 230 yards of the flag, just short of the green, all the way down the right hand side. There's gorse on the left, there's bunkers short. I'm on a par 5, I've hit a great drive, I'm here for 1. One thing I see happening quite a lot with people, and it might be, it's not 230 for you, it might be 200 yards. I get tempted now. Ooh, this is a shot I've got to take on. I've hit a great drive, so I'm feeling brilliant. I'm going to go 3-wood straight at the flag. Now, the calibre of shot that I will need to pull off to actually get that to land on the green and give me a chance of that eagle putt is pretty high. Now, if I don't quite get it, and it pulls up, 230 by the way is how far I'm going to carry my 3-wood if I absolutely crush it. If I smash it through the air, 230, off the ground, brilliant, I'm happy with that. It's slightly into wind as well today. So, if I don't quite get it though, and I have a little fade, which I tend to have, I'm in the pond. I've now wasted my good drive. I've now got a drop down there, so I've hit 2, dropped 3, I'm playing 4, I've got to up and down it for my par. If I, on the other hand, were to go wedge, which I'm pretty confident I can hit in a straight line over 100 yards twice, I've then still got a chance of a birdie putt, and I generally make more birdies when I have a wedge in my hand, say my gap wedge. And if I hit my wedge down to the bottom, it leaves me the perfect gap wedge. So let's spin you around, let's see the actual trouble we face, and let's see what happens. So sorry about the light, everybody. I'm just going to move that out of that air hole. We can see straight down there, 230 yards is that water all the way down the right hand side. What would happen if I take on this shot? I've got to hit the perfect shot now to make sure I do get it onto the green. Any type of cut and I'm in the disaster area. So I'm aiming straight at the flag. Come on, Matt. Oh no, I've not quite got it. So that's a brand new golf ball straight in the water, and that is disaster shot number 1. So let's go on to disaster shot number 2. Okay, so the next shot, we're talking a chip shot here, and what I'd call the hero chip shot, the one you'd see Phil Mickelson play, probably what we're going to struggle playing most of the time. And that's the one where it is quite a high caliber shot, where we don't have a lot of room to land the golf ball, and if we just pull up short, we're going to be left with another tricky situation. So an example of this, I've got about 5 yards to the front of the green here. There's 3 paces onto that flag, so not a lot of room to land it. But in between myself and the flag is quite a swale here. So it goes down and then goes back up. So I've got to carry this at least 6 yards and then stop it within 2 for it to be stone dead. Now, 1 yard right of this, I've actually got no real swale, it's the edge of it. I've got loads of room and loads of green to the right hand side of the flag, and it's quite a comfortable shot. So if I tried taking on the shot, and here I'd feel a little bit under pressure. I know that my chipping's not the best at the moment, but yet I'm taking on a shot that requires a real high caliber execution. If I don't quite pull this one off, I hit a pretty decent chip. Ah, no. It's just rolled back down into the gully, as we can see here. And now I'm faced with actually probably a harder chip because I've got less room. I've got to get it up quicker and stop it quicker. So if I were to actually just think, well, I'm not 100% with my chipping at the moment, I know I've got an okay score going, instead of trying to bite off more than I can chew, I'll actually just aim another 2 yards now to the right hand side, try and land it near the front of the green. And even there, not a great chip, but I've got an 8-foot putt. I can hold an 8-foot putt. I'm going to struggle to hold a chip up a slope and then tripping onto a down slope. So if you're faced with a chip that you're really not that sure about, you feel very uneasy over it. For example here, that swale could have been a bunker. If I would have hit that chip and it would have gone into the bunker as opposed to just playing slightly right of the bunker and giving myself a little bit of room and a little bit of leeway, then I'm not going to be wasting shots. Let's go and find out what another disastrous shot is. So, as you just saw from that quick close-up then, I am in a disaster of a lie. The ball is seriously down in the grass. It is not looking pretty. I've got 195 yards to my flag, so it's still a fair way to go. And what I would see as one big problem here, the disaster shot, especially from the higher handicappers or beginners thinking, right, well, it's still going to react as normal because it's the golf swing, I'm going to hit the golf ball, it'll do as it normally does. The problem is, you saw how dense that rough and how down the ball was into the grass. As soon as I make my swing, the club is going to get entangled by the grass, it's going to snarl up, I'm not actually going to get a clean contact on it, so I'm not going to get the shot I want. It's not going to come out like a normal 5-iron would for me. So what we'd see is something a little bit like this, where we'd take the setup, all good intentions of making a really good shot, and that's literally gone 20 yards. Came out horrible, really low, didn't get out of the rough at all. It just grabbed my club and was pretty horrible. So when you're in some thick rough, what I would suggest to do is take a look at it, evaluate how far into the rough that ball is and how much that rough is going to affect it. Then take the lofted club out your bag. It might only be an 8-iron that you can get up to, but have a look at it and think, right, is there enough force, is there enough of the club I can get onto the ball, or is there so much grass behind it that as soon as it gets in, it's going to get tangled up, all the force is going to get taken out of it. If that's the case, even get a lob wedge out, get a pitching wedge and just move it on forwards. Don't compound the bad drive by then hitting another poor shot out of the rough and leave yourself only a little bit further on. Take something like here, I've gone for a 9-iron, and if I hit this pretty well, it'll still go 130 yards. I'm able to dig through it a little bit more, and there, now I've only got, that's about 40 yards from the green. So it's actually flown out a little bit more because the grass has got trapped in between the face and the ball. It actually shoots on a little bit more, less spin, and I still get distance out of it. So make sure you're getting it up out of it and you'll get a little less spin and it'll go anyway. So don't take too much out of the, club out of the rough. Take a little bit more loft and see that it's going out further. Not a bad putt at all. Now, how many times has this happened? This is another disaster that I see. I've just hit a pretty good putt there. Wish I would have concentrated on that one. Walking up to those short putts and just knocking them in with no attention paid to the putt. The amount of times I play with some of my friends who are, you know, mid-teens handicap, a little bit higher, and they walk off and they say, oh, if I wouldn't have hit that putt, that driver out of bounds on 5, and I should just sit there and think, well, John, I watched you 6 times today walk up from 3 feet, even 2 feet, not line the putt up, not mark the ball, and you didn't do that, you didn't hole it, you actually missed it every single time. So what we need to do when we get these short putts, if you've actually, let's say you've hit the green in 2, you've hit a great drive, you've hit a good iron into 20 feet, you've rolled it up to 2 feet now, if I just grab this ball here, what we want to do is pay this putt a little bit of respect. It's only short, I know, but just give it a little bit more attention. So you'd want to go down, not got a marker, but we'd mark it, clean it, have a look at it, line it up if you use the line on the golf ball, have a little bit of read, reset yourself and actually go through your routine again of practice stroke and then just tap it in, nice and easy there. How many times do you see the pros from 3 feet mark the ball, clean it and do that routine? You never generally, unless it's literally within an inch or so, you see them walk up and tap it in. They will always generally within that sort of 3 foot, 2 foot range take some time. They'll give it a little bit of respect, because at the end of the day, that little putt could be the reason you either go up in handicap, or it could be the reason why you actually break 100 for the first time, or whatever the goal is. So disaster shot there. Stop wasting shots on small little putts. Let's see that we pay them a little bit of respect and start holing more of them. Let's go and find out another disaster shot. So we're at our final disaster shot, guys. Hopefully you've liked the other ones so far. And this is a par 3 here for me, and this can be taken into account for par 4s and just approach play generally. Now, this flag is 145 yards away from me. It's tight left. There is so much green right, it's unbelievable. Also short, about 135 yards, there is a bunker. To the left there is a bunker, and further on left there is a bunker. But to the right, like I say, there is a lot of green, and also I could go back to literally 165 yards and still be on the green. And what I see here, oh, 145, right, okay, well, my 8-iron normally goes 145. I've not taken into account that it's slightly into wind. I've not taken into account that it's actually got so much room behind the flag, it's untrue. But that 145 that I always think my 8-iron goes, when actually it goes 140 generally, is now probably going to play about 135. So let's go for that. Let's hit that 8-iron. Here we go. So 145, I'm going to make a good golf swing, aim at the flag, straight at it. This should be a good shot, this. Tiny little bit heavy. Oh dear. Guess where that is? That's just gone in the bunker short. Do you know why? Because you never have a look what's beyond the flag. Quite a big conversation I've been having with a lot of my lessons recently is, if you're using a watch to tell the distance, or you zap it with your laser, you hit the flag with your laser and that's it. You don't generally have a look what's beyond it. You start to always think, well, that's the end of the journey, the hole. I'm trying to get the ball in the hole, so I can't go past it to come back. That would be crazy. It'd be like driving past my house to then come back to it when I'm going home. But what we need to do is account for that sometimes we're not always going to hit our best shot. So here, I'm going to go now an extra club up. I'm going to peg this up. I've gone a little 7-iron because it's into wind, it's cold, and if I don't quite get this, it'll fall on 145. I might just grip down it slightly. But what I'm going to do is actually now play a little bit right of the flag, because there's loads of room over there. And I'm going to make a nice committed swing, and if I hit a good one, I'm at the back of the green and I'm putting. If I don't quite get it, I'm still putting. Let's have a look. Tiny bit skinny. Oh, I thought that was going to be a hole in one, then it's literally about 2 feet away. But because I've chosen a better club and given myself that room for error, I've now got away with it. I've actually hit a poor shot and had a great result, as where I hit a good shot before, a tiny little bit heavy, but I'm in the trap. So stop doing yourself a disjustice by picking the wrong club. Make smart decisions, make good decisions on your club selection, and you will see that you stop wasting shots out on the golf course. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed those disaster shots. Comment down below which one would sum up your disasters on the golf course. Is it the putting, the chipping, the ones out the rough, those hero shots at the start, or is it poor club selection? Hopefully, if you apply these to your game now and you actually start making the right decisions, we should see that all the scores get better, guys. And that is what we want. Lower golf scores, better golf. I hope you've enjoyed this video this week. If you have, do remember to hit that like button. Like I say, comment down below which one are you, which disaster guy are you. Also, Do remember to hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss any more golf lessons in the future. And I'll see you in your next lesson.